Hi friends, welcome back to the Saffron Box. I'm Yamini Sharma, and today, going ahead with the House Lord series, I'll be talking about the placement of the second Lord in your birth chart. So we'll see what happens when the second Lord is placed in various houses of your birth chart. Now to make this easier, I'll take an example. So for example, you were born under the Leo ascendant. You have a Leo rising. So in such a case, Leo comes into your first house, and in your second house, you'll have the sign of Virgo. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury becomes your second lord. So likewise, you can check for your birth chart and see which planet is the ruler of the second house of your birth chart. So that is the placement which I am referring to, right? So second house, remember, is the house which rules over our finances, our family, education, bank balance, family values, food habits, the way we talk, the way we communicate with people. So, how's our speech? How's the Vani you have? It is a Kutumba Bhav, Dhan Bhav, right? So, second Lord placement is a very important one to see in your birth chart as well. So here I'm going layer and layer wise, So when we see a birth chart, we see the placement of the lords, and then thereafter we see the other things like the conjunctions, the aspects, the degrees, the nakshatras in which the planets are placed, etc., etc. Right. So this is a basic layer which I'm referring to. So second lord in the first house. Let's talk about that first. So second lord in the first house shows that all these qualities of the second house, all these things which the second lord, which the second house is holding, now become important to the lagna, that is you yourself. So second lord in the first, in the ascendant, shows a person to whom family and finances are very, very important. Shows a person who's a family man or family person as such. Financial growth, savings, wealth. So the person's endeavors are towards these issues. So all of us strive for it, but for this person, these things are very important. He's constantly thinking about his financial growth, constantly thinking about how secured his family is, right? Shows a person who's grown up with good family values. That again depends on the placements of the chart, of course, but shows a person who's for whom the family values are very important. Education is very important. This person can communicate very well, can influence other people very well with his speech. Also shows somebody who's going to be very responsible, a very responsible person in terms of finances, handling money in the family, etc. as well. Right? Then second lord in the second house itself. So a house lord within its house, its own house, is a very strong placement. This shows that the planet has got an extra strength, can perform very well wherever that planet is sitting. So it shows a boost in finances. It shows a person born with a silver spoon or a purse or a pocket, right? So born in a affluent family, or born in a very strong or a well-known family. So it's a very well-known family in the society because of maybe its education or its wealth, or somebody in the family has done something very big, done something very major because of which they are known. So a well-known family at birth, a lot of support from the family side. So your family always has your back in terms of finances, in terms of various other things as well. Then this person could also be involved in the family business. or the food business. Second house rules over our mouth, our food habits. So this person could be very fond of good food. Food is very important, how it is presented, how it is cooked. So these people can be very interested in food matters, or like to cook themselves, or are involved in the food business, etc. Right? So a good placement to have again depends. If it's a benefic planet over here, benefic planet is involved, then in such a case the beneficence or the goodness will increase, and vice versa. Then second lord in the third house. This shows that the second lord has gone into an upche bhava. Upche bhava means a growth house. Third house is also a malefic house. So here it shows that the person has to earn money or has to make both ends meet through a lot of struggle, with a lot of hard work. And especially if the dasha system is not supporting that person, in such a case the struggle is going to increase manifold. So this shows a difficult position sometimes in terms of financial growth. So there's a lot of struggle involved, sometimes there's a delay involved, but you have to continue with your hard work. You have to continue, you have to be at it. This could also show a person who is very creative or who's working with their hands. So people who are creating something with their hands, who are painters, sculptors, artists, etc. Creative mind. And could also show somebody who's involved in the communication industry, in the television industry, media, social media, transportation, etc. This person could also be very heavily involved with their siblings. How heavily involved? The siblings could be dependent on this person, or this person could be heavily dependent on their siblings for the money flow, for their financial needs. Right? Also shows somebody who has a lot of desires. Remember, third house is the first in the karma trine. So this person has a lot of material desires. And side by side, there's a lot of struggle also to fulfill his material desires. Then second lord in the fourth house. Second lord in the fourth house shows a good placement as such. At a glance, it is a good placement, especially if there is no affliction here. So it shows somebody who gains from land, property, vehicles, or enjoys all these things, or is born in a family where all these things, where there was a lot of abundance, where there was a lot of wealth, good family roots, family money, old family money, good connection with their mother. So this person has got a lot of moral values, or has been brought up very well with their mother. So the mother's influence is quite strong on this kind of a person. This also shows um, earnings through land deals and property deals, etc. These people like to stick to their motherland. For them, moving out, a foreign settlement, going abroad is not a very big deal. But on the other hand, if this placement is afflicted, fourth house has afflictions. In such a case, there could be problems because of land, property, or conveyances. Right? Then, second lord in the fifth house. This shows a good placement. Second lord going to a trinal house, going to a Lakshmi Sthan, going to a Trikona. So here it shows a good placement in terms of money, in terms of a financial growth. There are various sources of income. There's God's grace regarding finances. So you can earn from education sector, you can earn from the entertainment industry, These people are good with speculation also. And I've personally seen that this shows somebody who's very heavily into equity, heavily into shares, etc. This is something which I've personally observed in my readings. Then a strong connection with schools, with counseling as such. So people who provide services in terms of, who are teaching something to others. You are in a teaching role, or you are in a advisory role also. They could also be a very strong connection with your children. So second house is family and fifth house is children. So these people are, they like to have a lot of children. They connect very well with children. They also like to spend heavily. They are sometimes a little extravagant in spending when it comes to their children, right? Then second lord in the sixth house. So second lord in the sixth house shows that the second lord has gone to a trik bhava. Sixth house is a trik house also, a dostana also, and a upche bhava as well. So this is a little difficult placement, but depends on how you're using this energy. This could show difficulty in terms of earning money or struggle again. But on the other hand, it could also show somebody who's dealing with a lot of problems and conflicts every day. So either you are facing a lot of problems or conflicts, medical problems, legal problems, financial problems, difficulty in paying off loans, etc. Sixth house shows all these things. Or you could be on the other side. You are dealing with problems, but you're dealing it uh, from the other side. Like you are a doctor, so you're dealing with medical issues. You're a lawyer, you're dealing with legal issues every day. So you're dealing with competition. There's always an opponent in front of you. So overcoming obstacles is a constant theme. So you resolve somebody's problems and then you get paid, right? So these kind of placements, uh, this placement shows this kind of a person, this kind of a native, somebody who's involved in healing basically. So you are healing or you are sorting out a particular problem, right? This also shows the probability of falling sick very frequently. Second lord also becomes a marka, and when it comes to the sixth house it can show a connection with diseases, deaths, loans, expenditure on all these things, right? uh, Also sometimes these people land in problems because of their communication, vani dosh as such. Then second lord in the seventh house. Second lord in the seventh house I've seen generally shows a person who works well in partnerships, or who sees good luck or fortune opening up post marriage. So they like to work in partnership, and as soon as they get married, sometimes their the doors to abundance opens up. Of course, there should be no other negative impact, there should be no other affliction here, right? These people can earn through a lot of public dealings. So you could be somebody who's involved in public affairs, who's always in the public eye as such. You could be a person in sales and marketing, in public relations, in the entertainment industry. You could also be somebody who's in the family business, right? So trade and commerce, earning through business is a major theme here. Then second lord in the eighth house. Now here second lord has come to a trik bhava again, a difficult house to be in, but it is good for finances in a way. So second lord in the eighth house shows inheritance, shows gain of legacy, shows involvement with spouse's money or gain of spouse's money. In laws can leave you some inheritance. basically somebody else's money comes to you, so inheritance or in-laws or a lot of dependence on your partner's money. These people can gain through insurance, or sometimes they come across windfall gains. So with money matters, things can blow either ways, good or bad. That depends, of course, on the dashas and other things in the chart, but money matters are a little tricky for them. This is not a very good placement for your family matters, because second lord going to the eighth, any family problem, any disputes in the family can carry on for a very long time. Eighth house is a little difficult to read. Eighth house is a trig bhava, as I mentioned. Not a very good placement for health issues. So your own health can also suffer. There could be a consistent or a persistent problem regarding somebody within the family also, right? um Sometimes I've seen that if such people lend money, they may count it as good as lost, right? So these people should be very careful when they lend money to somebody else. Then second lord in the ninth house. Second lord in the ninth house again shows the connection with the trine house, dharma trikona. So these people could be earning through teaching, through education, through travels. There's a lot of support from the father. A lot of guidance is given to them regarding family finances, regarding their own investments, right? They could travel away from home, so they stay away from their family for long durations. So a lot of travels are involved here. They could be connected with the travel industry also. So pilots, air hostesses, people who are away from home for a long time to earn money, people in the merchant navy, right? These kind of things can be seen. This also shows someone who is involved with religious affairs, spiritual affairs, who's earning through these things. So who's involved in the sale of books, sale of puja items, okay, earning through a temple or things which are used in a temple. So puja items, as I mentioned, right? The father's role is very important in their business, so a lot of guidance and help they get from their father as well. These people generally prove to be pretty lucky for the family also. Yeah. Then second lord in the 10th house. So second lord in the 10th house again shows a good placement. Second lord has come to a kendra bhava. 10th house is a very important house also after the lagna. So here it shows that the person earns through his or her own chosen field, chosen career. Shows a person who's self-made, who's pretty involved um in the father's work or in the line of work. So you generally toe the line of what your father has been doing. So if your father is a government official, you generally like to follow in his footsteps. You also want to crack the same exams and follow his footsteps, do the same occupation which he is doing or he was doing, right? Then it also shows somebody who's involved in the consulting work. So it could be consulting of various kinds. Consulting related to hospitality, finances, and sale and purchase of things, commission work, etc. This shows a person who's pretty hardworking and career oriented. So they know, they are very focused, they know how to earn their money, and they're very smart about it also. Because a Artha Lord, second house is the Artha house. So an Artha Lord has gone to the Artha house itself. The sixth house is also an Artha house, but it's a Upche Bhav also, it's a Trig Bhav also. 10th house is a Kendra house. and it is again a Upche Bhav, but it is a Kendra house. It is going to be a very important house in your birth chart always. Then second lord in the 11th house. So if the second lord goes to the 11th house, it shows a good placement. 11th house is the house of wish fulfillment, your ichha purti. So all your wishes related to the financial gains, related to money matters, can get fulfilled if the dashas are also supporting you. So this shows a good dhan yog also in a way. Then you may earn through networking around, you may earn through various profitable activities, investments. You may land into all these investments through socializing, through networking with people around you, right? Then you like to spend a lot on um, on your dreams, on your desires. So when we see the levels, we see needs, wants and desires. So these people are at a higher level. They are spending on desires because they are financially able enough, right? Resourceful friends can be seen from this placement. Your elder brother, elder sibling could be helping you out in life as such. So a lot of support from your elder sibling, right? Then second lord in the 12th house. Second lord in the 12th house shows that your expenditure is more or less equal to your income. So you earn a lot and you spend a lot. These people should be very careful with regard to their savings. So make sure that a certain amount of your income, a certain percentage, depending on how you're earning, how much you're earning, etc., various other factors, you should always save some first and then spend, because it shows a person who can spend easily, who likes to spend on traveling, likes to travel away, likes to travel out of home, right? Likes to spend on experiences. So going to some retreats, going to hitchhiking, going mountaineering, going into nature. So spending on these things, learning new things. So these people can be very experimental in nature also. They want new experiences, they want new activities, and all this involves a lot of money, expenditure. So financial expenditure is on these things. On the negative side, there could be expenditure towards medical bills also, towards medical bills, legal bills. These people can also be good, they can make for good donators also, can make good donations. Like to spend money on social service, on charity also. So it basically shows somebody who has a lot of money but has to be careful on how they are spending it. It should not be a wasteful expenditure. So good financial advice is necessary for them. So financial discipline, financial advice is very necessary for this particular placement, second lord in the 12th house, right? So this was my inputs or my views on the placement of the second lord in various houses. This was again a very short video on this topic, and more will follow soon. So in my next video I'll see you with the placement of the third lord in the various houses of your birth chart. So till then, take care, goodbye.